everybody. Just wanted to do a little review on a new toy that I got. Actually, it's not a toy, it's a deadly weapon, but I've never been archery hunting, and it's deer season here in Missouri now. And I have always wanted to try archery, but due to a shoulder injury, I can't pull a bow and hold it. So I got interested in it and looking at crossbows, and came across this one. I've had it in my wish list from Amazon for a long time, but finally this year I got brave enough to actually order it. The price was very reasonable compared to others that you can find. I mean, you can spend thousands, up to thousands of dollars on bows. This one's center point $370, and 370 being feet per second of the arrow. And like I said, this is the first time that I've ever even touched a crossbow, let alone fired one. And I have fired this one a couple of times already before I shot this video, but I kind of wanted to go through it a little bit, what I'm doing, what I'm learning. Very first time that I shot it at the targets over there, and my bolt got stuck, and I I had absolutely no clue as to how to get it out. I sat there and tugged on it, and then I tried twisting it around. I couldn't twist it. Tried doing all kinds of stuff, and finally I got the brilliant idea, well, if it won't come out, maybe I can pound it in. So I took my damn shoe off, and it's got a soft rubber sole on it, and so I didn't figure I'd damage the bolt. But if I did, it was too late anyway. So I took my shoe off and pounded it through just a little bit more, and then whenever I tried to pull it out, it was much easier coming out. It was still pretty tough, but it was at least doable. So in my inexperienced mind, maybe others know about this and I just don't, but if you get a bolt or an arrow stuck in a target like what you're seeing here, if you don't have anything else to lose and nothing else to help you get it out of there, then take your shoe off, take your boot off, and tap it through a little bit, and it'll loosen it up, and you can pull it right out. The target on the left, which I'm shooting at now, trying to zero my scope in on it, for whatever reason, I don't know if it's because the arrows or the bolts are not going as deep into it, or if that target is just more used or something, I don't know, but the bolts come out of it super easy. So I wasted a half hour just trying to figure out how to get my bolt out of that damn first target, and it was a real pain in the ass. But anyway, this comes from Amazon, or well, I guess you can buy them at different stores too, but this one at Amazon was the best price that I could find. I wound up paying $238 for it, and there's another version on there on Amazon that was showing up as $270, but I never really could figure out. It shows up as Camo 1 and Camo 2. Camo 2, I don't know what the difference is. Some people claim that there's no difference. I don't have anything to compare it to. So this is the Camo 1 version, and it was the cheaper of the two. And so anyway, it comes disassembled. Basically the front part of it, the bow or the the arms of the thing are on in one section, and then the rail and the scope and all that other stuff is on another. So I'm not gonna go through all the setup on it and everything, because if you follow the directions, you should be able to get it put together. It's not too bad as far as that goes, getting it put together. If I can do it, you know, I would say most people could do it. Some folks I've read reviews and stuff on this thing, and some folks love it, some folks just hate the thing. Again, I have nothing to compare it to, but from my own experience, just sitting here at the range shooting on it, I've had very little problems with it. I mean, I'm dialing the scope in now, and the scope seems to be tracking fine. I mean, as far as I shoot it and then I adjust it and it moves, and so I'm dialing it in. Some folks don't like the scope. I have nothing to compare it to except for a rifle scope, and it looks fine to me. It's an archery scope, I believe, because it has 3 crosshairs on it to determine what yardage you're shooting at, and I haven't quite figured all that out yet. I mean, I'm dialing it in for approximately 30 yards right now, and then once you do that, you're supposed to be able to use those crosshairs to elevate as much as you need for the shot. I fired it at those targets over there. Well, both of them really. The bolts went 3/4 of the way through that target, and those targets are a good 2 foot in width on a hay bale, or they're hay inside of them. So as far as stopping power or hitting power, for as best as I can tell, if you hit a deer with this thing, you're gonna kill it. If you hit it in the right spot, of course. I mean, you can have an unlucky shot, I guess. I've got it set up to cock now, and I can't really hold the camera and cock it at the same time, so I'm gonna have to put this down for a moment. But once I get it cocked up, I'll start the video again. Okay, there's the cocking string or handles, however you call it. They basically, you know, these fit over the string of the bow, and then there's a notch on the back side right there where the where the half of the string goes, so it's easier to, it gives it leverage, best I can say. And it's definitely got some resistance. I mean, whenever I try to pull it, I can get it done, but it's moderately difficult for me to pull this bow back even with the cocking string or levers, whatever you call them. But it's not by any means undoable. I can do it with relative ease, but it's still pretty resistant. One of the questions, or not questions, but kind of one of the observations that I had about it in the beginning before I even tried to cock the thing was, it felt like it was putting great or too much resistance on the arms, because I just didn't have any experience with knowing how much or how it would feel. But whenever you cock that thing, it looks like it's just going to fold over and bend in half and snap. and that's kind of the way it feels too. So you kind of got to trust it whenever you're pulling the thing, and it's held up. I mean, there's no no creaking, no groaning, no splintering, no any damage that it's doing whenever I'm doing it. So I guess I'm doing it right. Also, I wanted to mention the case that it's sitting on right now is a center point case, and as far as I can tell, it's a good case. I mean, it fits the bow, or excuse me, the crossbow, and it's got a compartment up in the front of it there, on the top of it, that you can stick, I guess you stick bolts in there. That's where I'm putting them anyway, and some other stuff that goes with the bow. It fits in there with the quiver, the attached quiver on it and everything. So anyway, I just wanted to share a little bit with you about this thing, and I'm gonna attempt to, when you're loading the thing up, the odd colored fin is supposed to go down in the rail, and then you slide it back, and there's a little lever right there that it's an anti-dry fire, I think. So basically it won't take your fingers off if the thing fires and you got your hands down in there, which you're not supposed to anyway. I mean, I don't know how else you're supposed to load the thing other than putting your hand down on the top of it and sliding the arrow back, but I'm damn careful doing that, because if that string snaps and your fingers or hands are in the way, the best of my knowledge, they're goners. You're gonna be fingerless, because that thing has got some serious power. Of course, I kind of want to compare this to a rifle. You know, it may sound stupid to some folks, but I was kind of, I don't know, concerned about recoil. You know, and I mean, you know, I have a friend of mine that I was kind of telling that to, and he kind of laughed at me, you know, like, well, you're really stupid. And I am, but there is no recoil. It's very natural shooting. There's just a little kind of like a swishing sound, I would call it, and that arrow is gone. It's out of there. Your shot is over. So for me, there's no trigger fear on it. I mean, you sit there and you breathe naturally, and you can, you know, pull that trigger back, and so it's a surprise when it goes off, like it should be, or it should be with a firearm anyway. That's the way you're supposed to shoot. But I have shot it several times now, but and you probably can't, I know you can't see it down there, but there's two bolts just left, or just right of center on that top left target there, and I mean, I haven't been down to look at them yet, but they're practically right on top of each other. And so I'm dialing the scope in a little bit more to the left to get it centered, but I shot it twice in a row at the same target, and I mean, if they're not touching, they're within a 16th inch of each other of touching. So accuracy is not a problem. No kind of recoil, that's not a problem. Trigger fear is not any kind of a problem. Cocking it is kind of a resistance thing, and I'm sure I'll get used to it, but that's a moderate problem if you're older like I am, or you're younger, like a kid, I would hesitate to put, you know, a preteen kid behind one of these things. But that's everybody's choice and whatever. But anyway, so yeah, that's it. Just wanted to show off the new gadget. It's I called it a toy to begin with, but it's absolutely not. It's meant for deadly business as far as hunting goes, and so far I really like it a lot. So anyway, thanks. Bye.